Hello, brothers and sisters. Good evening. Welcome to my channel, Danny and the Lion's Den. I uh, this is my testimony number 2, and I'm gonna pick up when I was about I'd say 30, 30, 29, 30, and come here, Miss Kitty. You want some more of these? Huh? You want some more of these? Here you go. Come on up here. Come on. And anyway, the girl problem started coming, I guess. I I met this gal. She moved in, and we was living together. And I fell in love, and so we was gonna get married. We had everything done, everything but the invitation sent out, rings bought, you name it. And she didn't come home one night. Next night she didn't come home. Third night she didn't come home for 3 days. And I'm asking everybody around, you seen her, you seen her? Nobody knows where she's at. No. And finally, about the third day, a friend of mine come out to the truck. I was getting in my truck to leave in a parking lot. He says, Dan, nobody wants to tell you because they don't want to break your heart. But your fiance's been staying at Kevin's house for the last 3 days. So, all right, I pretty much assumed what was going on anyway. I'm not stupid. If your fiance don't come home for 3 days and you don't hear nothing, you know, pretty much figure it out. But, so I went to this Kevin's house the next morning. Sure enough, there was her car in an apartment complex. And I went to the right door, thank goodness. And I knocked on the door, and my fiance answered the door. And her hair's all messed up. You can tell I woke her up out of bed. And first thing I thought was, why did she come to the door? Is he too scared to come to the door because it's me or what? Anyway, and I'm crying. Tears are coming out of my eyes. You know, catching my fiance staying with another guy. I mean, that hurts. So I'm crying, and I told her, I said, Shelly, what are you doing? And she looks at me, I'll never forget it. And she says, he loves me, Dan. You take care of yourself. That's the best she could come up with. We're engaged to be married. He loves me, Dan. You take care of yourself. Oh, my goodness. So the tears went away right away. And frustration and anger came on right away. And so I told her, I said, well, you better get dressed and get yourself home, because I'm going to go home, prop the doors open, and everything that's yours is going out the door. And I meant it. I went home, and I propped the front door open, and I was throwing everything of hers out, right out the door in a big pile. By the time she got there, I had a pile about 3 foot high. And she come in. It was a trailer house. She come in, and she goes, what are you doing, Dan? You don't have to be so rude. I'm the rude one now. But anyway, so on and so on and so on. And but I suppose she moved in with that Kevin dude, of course. And then I suppose about a month later, I called her up and told her, I said, say you got some vacuum parts over here. If you want them, or you come and get them, or I'll throw them away. Well, I'll be right there. You gonna be home? Oh yeah. I said, bring your new boyfriend Kevin with you. Well, I don't know. I said, I'll be fine. I'm fine. Just bring him with you. And so they came over. I offered him a beer. He took a beer, and I sat down at the kitchen table with them. And I looked at this Kevin fella, and I said, you know, Kevin, I guess I really don't blame you. Good-looking woman like that come into my house and bedroom, take her clothes off. But I looked at her, and I said, but Shelly, you disgust me. She couldn't even look at me. She just kept staring at the floor, which doesn't surprise me none. But anyway, I told him, I said, I hear you guys are moving to Eastern Washington. We lived over by Seattle. I said, I hear you guys are moving over to Eastern Washington on the other side of the Cascade. Yep, they say. And I told him, I said, well, you stay there. Don't come back. Because it's going to take me a while to get over this one. So, you know, I'm giving you fair warning. Do not come back. You stay over there in Washington, over in there on the eastern side of Washington, where you're going. Just stay there. Don't come back. So, okay, that was all over. They left. And I got word about, I suppose about 3 months later, that they were back. And there was a certain bar. I was a sinner. I wasn't a Christian yet. But there was a bar I always went to after work. And they knew what bar it was. It was the same bar every time on the way home. And I caught word that they were in there, but they were timing themselves. They knew when I got off of work and they knew when I was going to show up. So they'd leave before that time. I'm still pretty mad over the deal. So instead of going to work one morning, I parked behind the bar. I hid my truck. And I went in there and I didn't get 3 or 4 drinks out of my beer. And sure enough, here comes her car pulling in the parking lot. And it was just him. It wasn't her, it was just him. He's driving her car. And long story short, he walked in the door and I let him have it. Out cold on the floor. Picked up his hat and his cigarettes and threw them in the garbage. Then I picked him up and threw him outside by the car. Of course, he come around, got up, and drove away. About 15 minutes later, the phone rang. It was for me. Imagine that. And it was her. Oh, I suppose you feel like a tough guy now. I said, no, I just told you guys. I warned you guys. I warned you. I'm just doing what I told you would happen if you came back. But you didn't listen to me. And I told her, I said, you'd have got the same treatment if you'd have went to bed with him. I was pretty ornery, pretty mad. But, so that story, that's the end of that story. I don't know what happened to her, but she spent the rest of her life without me, that's for sure. But then shortly after that, I met another gal. Her name was Shelley, too. Stay away from the Shelleys. But no, her name was Shelley, too. I lived with her for about 2 years. And then I wanted a family. Been wanting one for years. And so I talked to her about it. She said she didn't want any kids. She already had 2 boys. And I told her, I said, well, I want a child. You know, what are we going to do? I mean, I want a child. And so I finally talked her into it, got rid of the birth control pills. And it wasn't very long, we had a daughter. My daughter, Jennifer. And I loved her. I loved my daughter. She was my world. And I did everything a mother did. Changed her poopy diapers, cooked formula, fed her, burped her, give her baths in the kitchen sink. I did everything a mother would do. I loved my little girl. She was my life. And, you know, she was Daddy's little girl. She wouldn't let anybody tie her tennis shoes. Daddy had to do it. She wouldn't let anybody tuck her in the bed at night. Daddy had to do it. So, yeah, we had a great, loving relationship, me and my daughter and I. And then when she turned about 2, her mother didn't want me anymore, kicked me out. Of course, I don't blame her. I was drunk. I've never hit a woman. I've never hit a woman in my life. Thank goodness. That's a perfect record. I ain't going to hit one now and break my perfect record at 66 years. But anyway, she kicked me out. And then, of course, we went through a terrible, terrible court battle for custody. And, of course, I lost. But it was really hard on me, really hard. Because I was all alone in Washington, where her family is. So it was her and her whole family against me. I was all alone. Money-wise, you name it. And so she got custody. I just split. I couldn't take it. And so I flew back to Iowa. I used to live in Iowa. Had family there. And oh, before I went, I'm skipping most of the story. She got custody and stuff, and I didn't want to live without my daughter. I just didn't want to do it. I couldn't do it. I loved her too much. So I called her up and asked her if I could have our daughter Jennifer for the weekend. Yep. And I had already had it planned. I picked her up and we jumped on an airport in Seattle, airplane, and we flew to Iowa. I took my daughter to Iowa. I didn't want to lose her. And of course I stayed hid for a while. I'd call her and let her talk to our daughter, but I wouldn't tell her where we were. And I was trying to get a lawyer there to fight for a battle for court and for custody. And uh, there one day she called and I called her to talk to her daughter, and she said, "Well, I've been seeing a marriage counselor, and I figured out if you want to come back, we'll work it out and get back together. And if you just tell me where you are, and we can get back together." So I bit that like a catfish, hook, line, and sinker. Oh, you stupid me! But I let I let love overtake my decisions. But anyway, so she came, and we went to Dairy Queen that night with the little girl, and she didn't say anything till the next morning. She was staying at a motel room. I had my daughter in my apartment, and the next morning, a lawyer called me. He said I had to bring the child up and give her over to her mother, otherwise they were going to arrest me. Oh, that's great. She come down here with a bunch of court papers from Washington State that said that she got temporary custody because I failed to appear. Well, failed to appear? Nobody ever told me there was a court hearing. I guess they're illegal to do that, I guess. Put it in the paper. If you don't read it in the paper, well, then you failed to appear. So I got shammed. I got shacked on that one. So that's when I lost my daughter to custody. She took my daughter back to Washington State. Well, I was on a plane in a week and went back to Washington State to fight for custody some more. It was a terrible battle, just terrible. And actually, well, long story short, she got custody in the end. And when that happened, my life was devastated. I mean, just devastated. So it was really so bad. I mean, I had depression, anxiety, anger, revenge, you name it. I remember laying in the middle of the kitchen, in the living room floor, in a fetal position, just bawling my eyes out so bad my stomach hurt. It was just, I couldn't take it. So anyway, I thought about, well, everybody keeps talking about this God, this Jesus and this God. So I thought, well, I've already attempted suicide once. And I thought, well, now, maybe I better go see if there's really anything about this God and this Jesus. So I started going to these churches. The first one I went to was a Pentecostal church, and that was a mistake. There are about 250 and there's 300 of them. They're all speaking in tongues at the same time. First time I ever been in a church. What is going on here? About got scared to run out of there. But I stayed. After the service, they're all telling me that I got to speak in tongues if I want to be saved. You can't be saved unless you speak in tongues. But I didn't know back then. I told them, I said, I don't know how to speak in tongues. Well, you're going to have to learn, otherwise you can't be saved. That's what they told me. But, yeah. Anyway, so the next Sunday, I went to a different church. I found a church that was called the Church of God's Holiness. And I contacted the pastor, and we had a meeting. And I went into his office, and I told him the story about my daughter and her mother and everything. And he says, well, Dan, he says, was you and child's mother married? I said, oh, no. Have you ever been married? I said, no, she's been married and divorced, but I've never been married. He says, well, is her ex-husband still alive? I said, yeah. He goes, then you don't deserve to be with her. She should be with her ex-husband. And I got Florida. What? But it's true. Now that I'm a Christian and learn, yeah. You can get divorced. You can divorce your spouse. But if your spouse is still alive, you're not allowed to marry another. No, that's adultery. It's in the scripture. But anyway, so he was telling me this truth out of the Bible, and I was getting bored. I'm like, man, are you serious? Blah blah blah. But anyway, So I started going to this holiness church. I thought, well, he's the first one that started telling me the truth. So I got saved. It was probably about 35 years ago, maybe a little more. I'm getting pretty old. But I got saved. And I was there for about, affiliated with that church, probably 3 years, 2-3 years. And then I didn't get what I wanted. So I turned my back and went back into the life of sin. I backslid. I left God, left the Lord, went back into the life of sin. And I realized today because the reason why I left is because I went to him to begin with for all the wrong reasons. I figured that if I serve you, Lord, you'll bring me back my daughter. I found out you don't make deals with Jesus. No, sir. But that's where I was. So I went back into the world, back into the jungle, I guess. You could say. Well, let's say the lion's den. There you go. But yeah, and I was carrying all this burden and hate and depression, anxiety, you name it. Everything on the list, I was carrying it. I attempted suicide again. I didn't care to live. I wasn't scared of anybody or anything. I turned into a drinking. Yeah, I turned into a pretty bad fella. I was really mean. And I lost count of how many barroom fights I was in. Lost count. And I'm not proud of it. Partner killed 3 guys. Not proud of that either, but yeah, I almost killed them. I didn't care. I did not care about life at all. I didn't care about anybody else's life or mine. Either one. Yeah. But anyway, I'm not going to tell you about the fights. I remember plenty of them, but I'm not going to get into it because I'm really not too proud about them. But I was quite a fighter, quite mean. Anyway, so that was in Missouri, southern Missouri. And then I moved back up to Iowa, Spirit Lake, Iowa. And I was still the same old thing, but fighting in the bars. Yeah, I think I had the cops come in the bar and handcuff me, take me home 3 times, but it wasn't my house. But it was a long time, about 35 years, yeah. I finally got up here to this little town called Onemia, Minnesota. I come up here to live with my brother because his health wasn't too good. So I was going to help pay his bills and help take care of him. And just so happened, the day I got here, he died. Yeah, he drank himself to death. He died. Poor fella. He should have turned his life to Christ instead of drinking, but he died, drank himself together. And I already left everything behind, sold everything, and blah, 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 so now I'm stuck here. No money to leave. And I'm still here, been here ever since. But anyway, there's one day, I was watching the news a lot, and I was finding out what's going on around the country. Not just our country, the world. Finding out what's going on around the world. And after I started learning what was going on around the world and our country and seeing everything, I actually got scared. I did, I got scared. I mean, oh my goodness, Jesus is going to come back soon. I mean, look, this place is in just chaos. He's going to come back soon. So I came back to the Lord. That was 2 years ago. And so I came back to him out of fear. I was scared that the world was going to come to an end and I was going to not make it. And so I came back to him out of fear. I came back about 2 years ago. And it's been the best 2 years of my life. I realize now why I walked away from him the first time is because when you get saved, Jesus wants you to give your all to him. Everything about you. Everything. I mean, everything. Your entire being, your pain, your sorrow, your happiness, your relationships, your family. I mean, you turn everything over to him. Everything in your life, just turn it over. I learned that. this time. And, I'm just so much better. So much better. I never did lose the holiness teaching. It still stuck with me. And, but anyway, this is the best 2 years of my life. The only thing I have a little burden with yet, but I make sure the Lord keeps it, and I try not to take it back, is my daughter. Again. See, I had visiting rights. She'd come and see me for the summers. We always had a good time. But her mother, the whole time she was taking care of our daughter, her mother was bending over backwards and doing whatever she could to destroy the relationship between me and our daughter. That's wrong, I know, but she was doing it. And she won, eventually. I'd call and talk to my daughter, and she wouldn't let me talk to her. So I called my lawyer, and the lawyer called her and said, "You can't do that. Father's got rights." So I was talking to her, and she moved. She moved out of Washington State without informing me where she's going. So I didn't know where my daughter was for 2 years. I finally hired a lawyer and investigator to hunt her down. They found her in Alaska. And they told her she can't do that. She needs to inform the father where you're going. And by court rules, she wasn't supposed to do that without telling me. But she did. She should have went to jail for it. But she just got a little slap on the hand, don't do that. But anyway, so all in all, during that whole raising period of my daughter, her mother was planting things, and I don't know, who knows what she was telling my daughter about me, lies or whatever. But anyway, she succeeded. To this day, I got a 35-year-old daughter that wants nothing to do with me, and I have no idea why. The only thing I've ever done to my daughter is love her. So I don't know I don't know. I've texted her and asked her why. Jennifer, if you're old enough to kick your dad out of your life, you should be old enough to tell him why. But she never tells me why. She's never given me a reason why. I think to this day it's because she don't have a reason. I never give her one. But anyway, if that's what she wants, that's what she wants. I'm just glad that I'm saved, that I can give something like this just over to Christ and let him carry it instead of me. Oh, I still carry it, but it's not near as painful as it was before. Not near. No. Things get a lot easier when you turn them over to Christ. Lord, you take care of it. I can't take care of it. And don't take it back. You don't ever take it back, because it'll just start all over. But anyway, yeah, I got a 35-year-old daughter. I don't even know where she lives. I haven't heard from her in 12 years. 35 years old she is. And I got a niece that talks to my daughter on Facebook. So I talked to my niece, and I told my niece, I said, "Hey, next time you talk to my daughter, see if you can get her address, because her father wants to send her a gift." And my niece called me back in about 3 days. She said, "Say, I talked to your daughter, Jennifer, and she said if you want to send her a gift, you got to send it to me, and then I'll send it to her." She's never given me a gift in her life. I've never got a Father's Day card in my life. And she hasn't talked to me, kicked me out of her life for 12 years. And now she wants to make demands of how I can give her a gift. Oh my goodness. No, I just said, I told her, I said, just tell her to forget it. Just forget it. And so I don't think I'm ever going to do anything to try to get back with my daughter. She's gone. She's worldly. The world has got her swallowed up. She sits on a throne. I don't know how high it is. But it's just crazy. It is what it is. So, don't anybody ever think that if you get saved, your life would be easy. No, I don't think so. No. But anyway, so that's pretty much, I skipped a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of stuff I really didn't want to bring up, because it still bothers me to even bring it up. Just a lot of fighting, a lot of drugging, did about every drug you could think of, acid, drank, cocaine, uppers, downers, LSD, it's just all kinds of mushrooms. And anyway, I don't have a right to be as healthy as I am today at 66. No, I sure don't. I mean, I'm not jumping and leaping over tall buildings or anything, but my back's pretty shot. Worked construction my whole life. I got two deteriorating discs, my two lower discs, and I got a spur, whatever a spur is, and it's pretty painful. I suppose I'll be needing back surgery here for too long. And then they say I'm starting to get a case of dementia. They did an X-ray or whatever you want to call it on my brain, and as soon as they stopped it from rolling around up there, they could examine it. But anyway, the results wasn't good. My small blood vessels in my brain are shrinking. They give me some medication to keep them open, otherwise that'd be a stroke. And something with my white brain mass. I don't understand medical stuff, but right down to it, I'm in the short term of dementia. That's great. That is wonderful. How am I going to spread the word of Christ if I can't remember? I've prayed to him about it. Lord, you can clean that up. You can take that. You can clean my brain problem up. No problem. And I know you can, Lord. I don't even have to think about the faith of it because I know you can. You healed the blind man that was born blind. You healed the cripple. You healed all. You cast out demons. You can take care of my brain problem if you want, dear Lord. So I ask you to, Lord, will you please do that? I have the faith, but if not, then it's not your will, and your will be will be done. If I have to deal with it, then I have to deal with it. But your will be done, Lord, whatever you want. And we'll see what happens. But I guess that's about my second half of testimony. I'm skipping a lot of stuff, but how about this? All right, in my first, excuse me, in my first testimony video, I told you how I grew up. My dad was killed when I was in 9 months old, so I never had my dad. And my mother beat us and was really, really, really bad to us, abusive. So the welfare took us away and split us up and put us in foster homes when I was about 8. Well, I lived from 8 to 17 in and out of foster homes. So yeah, my childhood I didn't have a wild childhood. It was pretty screwed up. And then I already told you about what happened as an adult. And but what puzzles me that I skipped, I'll tell you now, is how many times I've escaped death. I lost count of how many times I should have been dead. My goodness. So I think the Lord's keeping me around for a reason. I don't know why, but I mean, I rolled a dump truck in the ditch. A dump truck. Crawled out of the windshield and walked down the road. I don't know if any of you older people, brothers and sisters that's watching this video, you might know it used to be an Oldsmobile Delta 88, they called it. Big tank of a car. Heavy, it's built of metal, not fiberglass or plastic. And it was a 4-door. It was a big old tank. I was drunk. Went in the ditch. And I hit an embankment, head on an embankment with it. And rolled it end over end. Totaled that baby out. There's nothing left of that car. And I crawled out of the windshield and walked home. I sure did. So that was the dump truck. That was the car. And I told you about a bullet. My first testimony interview told you about a guy shooting at me and a bullet going by my ear. I escaped death there by about an inch or a half inch. And then I was working on a barge with a big crane on it. We'd go up next to the docks and pick up boat hoists and bring them in and set them next to the dock. And one time we were pulling out a rollout dock into the lake, and I hooked it up, and the driver of the barge, he's backing out, pulling that dock out into the lake, and I was just hanging on to the wooden bench that was on the end of that dock, because I'm riding the dock as we're pulling it out. And all of a sudden I heard a noise above me, but I didn't get to look in time enough. But that crane, it's got like an elbow on it. You guys know cranes on it, goes down the armpit. Well, it busted off right there at the elbow, and the top half come falling down 20, 25 feet out of the air. And it brushed me by the shoulder. Just brushed me like that. About 1900 pound steel beam. And it brushed me on the shoulder and landed next to me. But it hit the bench I was hanging on to and pinched my finger pretty near clean off. Ambulance was there, everybody was there. Ambulance, people, who's the president? What day is it today? What year is it? I said, you guys, I'm fine, it's just my finger. They thought it hit me in the head. But anyway, it turned out I got a pretty bad finger. It was about cut off, went in there. Doctor said, well, what do you want to do? We can finish the job and take it off or try to save it. What do you want to do? I said, well, let's save it. So it turned out a little bit crooked, but it's there. Anyway, and then I fell off the roof many a times, building houses and buildings and stuff. Many a times. Lost count how many times I fell off the roof. And the only thing that's happened to me there is I got a steel plate in my left heel. I shattered my heel when I fell off a wall. But the hardest one is a skull fracture. I've fractured my skull, and I'm living as hell about it. Yeah, I was drunk again, and I fell down a flight of concrete steps and bashed the back of my head on a concrete step. Nobody was there, and some people come home where I was going to visit, and they weren't home. And they come home and found me laying at the bottom of the stairs. Said there's blood coming out of my ears and my nose, and I was a mess. She called the ambulance, and they took me in. Sure enough, fractured my skull. Boy, did I have some migraine headaches out of that. But I was in the hospital for about 4 months, and it took me 2 years to learn how to walk again because I lost the hearing in my left ear. I fractured my skull back here, above that left ear, and for something now the left ear don't hear, and it's just there for looks. How's that look? Anyway, yeah, I was in there for 4 months. It took me 2 years to learn how to walk again. My balance was all messed up. But now here I am, 22 years later, and the only thing that's wrong is I can't hear on my left ear. I still got a brain, I think. I'll let you decide. But anyway, I should be all messed up or dead. I've escaped death many, many times. Lost count. And going through all them problems I was telling you about, I'll tell you about, I've seen millions. I lost count of psychiatrists. Going to psychiatrist, went to a mental health institution for 3 months. I've been seeing all kinds of psychiatrists. I couldn't get over my daughter. I just couldn't. Losing my daughter was controlling me. I allowed that pain to control me. But anyway, there's one time I went to a psychiatrist, and he said, Danny, you got any friends? I said, nah, I don't have any friends. He said, you mean you don't have neighbors you talk to or people you know at the grocery store and talk to? I said, oh, yeah, I know people. I talk to people. Yeah, I know people. Oh, well, then you do have friends. I said, no, sir, I ain't got no friends. And he said, this is a good one. You'll like this one. He says, well, what about all the, all them people that you talk to and stuff? I said, well, no, they're not my friends. They're my acquaintances, I said. And here we go. A college dude went to college for 8 years. And he asked me, what's the difference? He didn't know the difference between a friend and an acquaintance. And he's a college man. Oh my goodness. Anyway, so yeah, he asked me, what's the difference? I said, well, an acquaintance is people you know and you talk to, and at the store you meet them and talk to them stuff. But a friend, now a true friend, now that's somebody that died for you. And he goes, and he tells me this story. He said, if I was in a boat in the middle of a lake, and that boat capsized in a way that I only had 3 seconds to either save my life and my friend would drown, or to save my friend and I would drown, it's only human instinct that I would save myself. And I looked at him and I said, well, then you wasn't his friend, you was his acquaintance. I could see his face getting red. He's starting to get a little ticked off at me. But I don't know why. I was just telling the truth. But, and finally he leans back and he goes, Dan, Jesus, I wasn't even a Christian at this time. But he goes, Danny, Jesus Christ died for you on the cross. And I looked at him with a big old smile. I said, I know that, sir. He was my friend. And he just got beat red. He slammed his books on. I just got up and said, sir, you can't do nothing for me. And I walked out. Never went back. Yeah, I was the patient at a psychiatrist's office, and I was telling the psychiatrist. Anyway, if I told you everything I could think of in my 66 years of life, we don't have enough time. I've had people tell me, I've had people that I've told stories to, and I've had 2 of them tell me right out that I could write a book. I could write a book and it'd be a bestseller. It probably would be. But anyway, so that's my testimony number 2. I'm sorry I didn't tell any more. There's a lot I could tell, but some of it I really don't want to remember back to, and we really ain't got time for everything. But you pretty much got the point. I had a hard time living my life with Jesus when I couldn't let go of my daughter. That's my whole point. When I could not let go of my daughter, it's like the rich young ruler that goes to Jesus and said, Master, what should I do to seek to keep the kingdom of heaven? And Jesus said to him, he said, well, you know the commandments. Love thy mother, honor thy mother and thy father. Do not commit murder. Love thy neighbor, never falsely accuse thy neighbor. And he goes down the line, and the rich young ruler says, well, I've done all these since my youth. And Jesus says, you got to do one more thing. There's one thing you lack. You go and sell everything you own, give it to the poor, come pick up your cross and follow me. Well, the rich young ruler, he just walked away with his head down because he was rich. He had a lot of money and a lot of property. He wasn't willing to give that up. So he walked away with his head down. And Jesus looks at his disciples and said, it'll be easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to seek the kingdom of heaven. That's true story. It's in there. So that's what I'm getting at. I was the rich young ruler for years. I wasn't willing to let go of my daughter's situation. I kept trying to keep control of it, and it was a disaster. I couldn't do nothing. I was just hurting myself and others. But this time that I got saved, this time 2 years ago, I finally learned how to give things to him, how to give everything over to him. I finally learned. Sometimes it's pretty difficult, but you have to do it. You have to. Yeah, you got to give everything over to him, everything. And I finally learned how to give my daughter's situation over to him and put it on his yoke and let him carry it and take care of it, because he said he would, and he has. I don't have my daughter back. I never hear from her, but it is what it is. It is what it is. I love her and I miss her, but that's just some of the pain people have to go through. Just some of the pain I got to go through, on top of all the pain I've already been through. But Jesus is in control. I mean, the Lord Jesus is in control, and that's all there is to it. If you don't get your way, that's too bad. It wasn't his will. Be happy about it. Because, Lord, thy will be done. Yeah, uh, I'm not rich. I live paycheck by paycheck. Um, but I have what I need. Jesus provides. He provides me with everything I need. I don't have nothing. I have nothing over. No, no, no. By the time I pay the bills and get groceries, I'm broke. But he serves me. He serves me what I need, and nothing more. That's fine. That's fine. Maybe he figures if I had more, I'd waste it or something. I don't know, but I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. As long as he gives me what I need, I'm good. I got a roof over my head, clothes on my back, food in the refrigerator, and yeah, I mean, well, I I don't think anybody, I don't think most people in the United States has anything to complain about. I mean, why would anybody in the United States complain? My goodness. There's people in the country that have a dirt floor in their living room, a leaky roof, no plumbing, no electricity. But yet, everybody complains. A lot of people. But anyway, I don't complain. No, it is what it is. I love my daughter and I miss her very, very much. And I still have pain over it. Yes, I do. But I give it to God. Lord, you take care of it. I'm not feeling too good today, Lord. Would you help me with this? And he will. He does. Smoking and drinking, when I turned my life over to him 2 years ago, I was smoking a pack a day and I drank pretty heavy. And gambling. I was gambling all my money away. And I don't know if it was the same day or very shortly after I got saved this time. I prayed at the bedside before I went to bed, and I said, Lord, will you please deliver me from cigarettes and drinking and gambling? And I meant it. Please deliver me from this, Lord. And I went to bed. And I'm telling you the truth, I've never thought about any of it. None of the three since I woke up, and I've never even thought about it since. I haven't even them three things haven't even crossed my mind. Gone overnight. Nope, gone overnight. No temptation of wanting a cigarette or no, just gone overnight. There's no way a man can do that on his own. There's just no way. No way. And that's Jesus. That's the Lord Jesus for you. If you surrender everything you got to him, and you go to him with faith, believing, and honesty, sincere and honest, and he can read your heart, he'll know, and he will answer you. Yes, he will. Yep. So anyway, I love the Lord Jesus Christ. I love it. I do. I love him so much. I've been saved now for the second time for 2 years, and it's been the best 2 years of my life. I don't have what I want. I don't have my daughter. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have what I want, but I have enough. I have what I need. So it is what it is. I love the Lord Jesus Christ. I really do. I gotta tell you one story, and then I'll let you go. I live in this small town, and I seem to be standing alone. Nobody believes the religion that I believe in. Of course, nobody reads the King James Bible around here. They're all reading the newer Bible. But they don't believe the truth that I talk about and say. It's like I'm an outsider. I thought, well, Lord, why did you take me, a lamb of yours, and plant me right in the middle of a pack of wolves? Why did you do that, Lord? I mean, they're going to chew me up if I'm not careful. But no, I'm here, and I believe there could be a reason that I'm here. There could be a reason I'm here. No, but I don't think I'm going to reach out and save this town. But anyway, it's got 4 churches, and I went to 3 of them. I went to the Methodist, the Lutheran, and the Alliance, and all three of them, they bring the world right in the doors every Sunday morning. Bring the world right in. It saddens me. It saddens me. Something terrible. Everybody knows the name Jesus, but they don't know Jesus. It's sad. It's sad. They go to church to see their friends and have a potluck dinner. As far as worshiping the Lord from the heart and giving 100% to Him, it's gone. Doesn't exist. So I don't even go to churches here anymore. I don't have a car to go anywhere else. But I refuse to go to these churches anymore. I just refuse. They don't live by the true Bible. They just don't. And to me, the true Bible is the King James. It was printed in the year 1611. And now everybody's believing and living by these newer Bibles that were printed in 1978, 1980, my goodness. My goodness. But anyway, it went in. I'm not going to back up on the truth. I tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Anybody don't like it, well, I'm sorry. You're going to have to walk away then, because I ain't never going to stop. The truth is the truth. And the truth will always be the truth. Now, a lie will change. You always got to cover up a lie with another lie. But truth, not truth. Truth will always stay the same. It's always truth. Yep. And I think a lot of the town I live in here, a lot of the problem is love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Father is not in him. And it fits this down pretty good. Yep. But anyway, I'll get by. I'm doing all right. I got my brothers and sisters on YouTube. But anyway, well, I'll get back to you again on another video. Until then, you all have a very good day. Hang in there. Praise the Lord. Surrender everything to Him. If you're having a problem, surrender that problem to Him. He'll take care of it. And be honest from the heart. We worship Him from the heart. The love He gives us in our heart, we give back. But, so anyway, y'all have a good day, great day. Thank you for tuning in to my channel, Danny and the Lion Den. I don't know when I'll have the next video, but it'll be coming up soon. Thank you very much for tuning into my channel, Danny and the Lion Den. Subscribe, send me a comment, whatever. I hope I enlightened somebody or one person or anybody. I hope I enlightened a little bit. I'm not very good at this, but I love to preach. But sometimes people tell me I preach too much, and I can't help it. I can preach for an hour. I can preach for 3 hours and not even open the Bible. I can't stop. I just can't stop. But anyway, well, all right. Thank you, brothers and sisters. Have a good night. God bless. God bless your families. And I'll see you again. Bye-bye.